Good morning. Time is continuing to roll. There was yesterday and there's today, and we also count on, wish for, desire tomorrow. And sometimes time rolls very slowly. And sometimes it goes so quickly. Where did the last 40 years go? And there are challenges all along the way. And also blessings. So many blessings. Things that are just pure gift to us. Hey guys, look at this here. Let me do this right for you if I can. You'd think the roads were busy, but look at this here, like a city, traffic. Look at the size that one is carrying. 3 times its length or more. And they're all working together. Wow, look at this one. Like a big semi-truck. We got perfect light with the sunrise, plenty of light pouring in here to see the details. Look at that one. And this one is pushing, the other one is riding on top. Piece of a thistle. Wow. How industrious. And today there's trouble in Egypt. Today meaning 3,300 and something years ago. As we read among the reeds, there's a wicker basket. It's interesting, apparently that's the same word that's used for the ark of Noah. You know, God's providence and human industry working together in times of trouble. And the little basket, wicker basket, is secured and protected for the water. And there lies a little baby. And there's cruelty in the Pharaoh's government, and yet his daughter is filled with compassion. In a way, it's two girls at work here, or three if we count the mother. So we have Pharaoh's daughter. Her heart is moved with compassion when she hears a little baby cry. What woman doesn't move with compassion when a little baby cries? And they might never have seen the baby before. Might be in the supermarket, they mightn't know the mother, they mightn't ever have contact. It can be a different race, it can be completely different social standing, like in this case, the Pharaoh, and a slave child. And her heart is moved with compassion. Right in the Pharaoh's house. You know, that kind of helps us to not brand people. Oh, you're in this party, or you're from that town, or you're, you know, how easily we label and condemn and reject and distance ourselves from those who are not in our group. And then there's the sister. She's obviously a bigger sister. And then we know her name later, Miriam. And she's hiding in the reeds to protect her little brother in a time of great difficulty for little babies, baby boys. And then there's that human cleverness of the whole setup and the story. Let me call one of the slave women to nurse the child. And so it's the mother that nurses the child like the Creator wanted. Sometimes today mothers have a hard time to find time for their children. They have such pressure at work. It's really a bit inhuman to separate a child from its mother. You wouldn't even do it to one of the calves here on Mount Arbel. It's amazing. One day I'm not sure if I told you, I was with a Korean seminarian who was doing his retreat before ordination. And he was from New York. I'd love to make contact with him again, see what his memories are of this moment, but it was probably 12 or 13 years ago. And I suggested him we go for a day walking in the desert, the Judean desert. And we met up with some Bedouins. I knew some of the Bedouins in the area, so I just had to say I knew this Bedouin or that Bedouin, and then they all knew who it was. And then they wanted to give you a cup of tea. And so we were sitting down among the Bedouins as they kept an eye on their flock. And all of a sudden one of them startled up and ran over across a little ravine, and within seconds he was over there. And I realized immediately that it was a goat going to give birth. And so I asked the guy near me to not to hasten the process, but just, if possible, to wait a little. And the seminary and I also darted over there. But the little baby goat was already born. like just fresh, straight born, all so liquid, almost like jelly. And the mother was ravenously licking that little baby. The power of the affection was so contagious, even for us humans, to see that bonding, that oneness, that belonging, that helpfulness, that preparing for life on this earth. And those first 3 years, I say, are very, very important. Obviously, the first 12 years are important. And nowadays, the teenager years are so important, so sensitive for children with their parents, their mom and dad. And they need that combination, that very different poles of perspectives and emotions and reactions. His mom and dad are quite different, you know. You know, you didn't realize. And all of this helps to build that healthy psychology, that great balance, recognizing the other as other, not homogenizing. So many challenges, and it's sad when a parent dies early in life, early in the life of the child. It's sad, always, death is always sad. And here we have a government program 3,400 years ago eliminating all the boys from birth. And the people working in there between the cracks, saving a life. There's that beautiful phrase in a proverb. I think it's a proverb of the Jewish people. It says, if you save one life, you save the whole cosmos. And you know how amazing this little child saved himself, became one who, in God's provident plan, was to save so many from slavery, to lead them to promised land. The plans God has over a little newborn, we have no idea. And even the ones that don't make it into history books, which are the most of us, then God still has his plan over our lives. Amazing plan, and we're probably going to be tremendously surprised in eternity when we see the contribution that some poor, we would call poor wretch, that had very little chances in life from all institutional type of standards, and yet that person, because of their intimacy with God, because of their non-resistance to God's plan. Oh, there's a whole lot of partridges just took off here, but they're pretty camouflaged. There were about 8 or 10 of them. They usually go in pairs. And apparently Moses is an Egyptian word. There's also then the Hebrew etymologies that are alluded to. But we have a famous, what were the leaders called in Egypt? The pharaohs, the Tutmoses. And Moses meant he was son of Tutmoses. And even Ramses, the names are very close. The son of Ra, the sun god. It's amazing how the Bible is soaked in also all the surrounding cultures and languages, concepts, and that doesn't stop God revealing his mystery. On the contrary, it's part of the revelation of his mystery, how he works. And we see that we're not the ones to design it and cut it out. We're given a huge gift here. Heading down here, the southern direction here, just above the lake. Walking along this nice path here, heading towards Tiberias. It's amazing how God's providence works. Who would have thought about it? Responding in their conscience to the promptings of the Holy Spirit, doing little good deeds, doing everything we can to help even in impossible situations. And we have that beautiful Psalm 69 today. Turn to the Lord in your need and you will live. And who doesn't have need? And to learn this wisdom, this basic life approach. Turn to the Lord in your need and you will live. And so Moses is drawn from the water, and then he draws his people through the water, through the Red Sea. Obviously he doesn't do it with his power. It's God is doing it. Turn to the Lord in your need and you will live. But he also needs us to help, to make the little wicker basket, to collect the reeds, to make the basket, to get the pitch to secure the basket against the water. Turn to the Lord in your need and you will live. It's not a passive turning. It's, Lord, show me what I need to do so that your plans can be completed in my life. And then from right over here, we're looking right now in the direction of Chorazin and Capernaum and Bethsaida. And they're very strong words in the gospel today, because the Lord has come to help. And many miracles are performed, and there's a deep resistance in many people. Obviously, there are those who open their hearts, like the mother of Moses and his sister and the Pharaoh's daughter. And so we have his disciples right here in Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, and the fisherman and the tax collector, the people who weren't the big dudes in town. If the mighty deeds done in your midst had been done in Tyre and Sidon, in Sodom and Gomorrah, they would have converted. And it's important in this chapter 11, we skipped the story about John the Baptist there, because we're dealing directly with Jesus' public life in that aspect right now. The final snippet of chapter 11, which we'll have tomorrow, is about how it's the lowly and the humble who are open to God's message. So there's a nice background that opens us up for the light of salvation. Turn to the Lord in your need. The person who's proud can't do that. They're locked out. So we ask for that blessing today, to be able to turn to the Lord in our need and receive his blessing and get it into action and put his plans into work in our lives. Sometimes it's just filling the jar with water. Sometimes it's bringing our friend on the stretcher and letting him through the roof. Sometimes it's just walking one little step towards somebody and the Lord gives a beautiful surprise of reconciliation. People, God bless you. It's been a wonderful delight to have you here at Mount Arbel this morning. So I wish you many blessings today, or if you're in the Western Americas, or tonight as you go to rest after a full day. See you later, alligators.